Hello and very good afternoon to everybody. I'm your host Prashik Walke. Thank you for joining us for today's PyTools webinar, an introduction to AI security assessment. Before we get started, please let me take a few minutes to introduce PyTools. PyTools is research-powered cybersecurity consulting firm. We have decade-long track record with a singular focus on cybersecurity. PyTools impact is delivered every day through our three verticals. Number one, community and conference. Pi2 runs hardware.io, a hardware security focused conference along with our other initiatives. Number two, consulting and training. We primarily focus on offensive security assessments. Number three, products. Pi2 has also released two products in a private beta trials, Exploity, a firmware analysis framework, and CloudFuzz, an advanced fuzzing framework. This is an overview of various consulting assessment we execute for our customers across the globe. We have delivered talks and workshops worldwide in some of the top security conferences like Black Hat, DEF CON, etc. This has been our decade-long impact to contribute to a robust cybersecurity community in India and globally. Without further ado, let's get started with our webinar. Today's speaker, Nikhil, is AI security researcher at PyTools. You can read about his many wonderful accomplishments on the slide. Before I hand over to Nikhil, a few housekeeping tips. Please be on mute. If you have a question, you can write it in the chat box. We will answer the questions during our few intervals or towards the end of the webinar. A recording will be released later via our LinkedIn page, so please make sure you are following PyTools and LinkedIn. Nikhil, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Prashik. So let's start with the webinar. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so today's topic is an introduction to AI security assessment. May I know if there is anyone who is from the machine learning or AI background who works on AI applications? If so, you can put yes in chat. Okay, so we have one person from AI background. Okay, so this is a bit about me. My name is Nikhil. I'm the AI security researcher at PyTools. My main job is to orchestrate different methodologies to test AI applications against privacy and security flaws. So what we are going to talk today is about how ML works, what is ML, and just get an idea of how ML applications are developed and deployed. Then we'll talk about some possible threats to ML applications. Then we'll go to our designed assessment methodology to assess security and privacy threats for AI ML applications. Okay. And we might discuss about some mitigations. So this is just a very abstract view of how any ML application works. So basically we have something that we call a model. So model is nothing but a mathematical mapping of your input data set to respective classes per se. So in this example, we have this model which classifies input image to hot dog or not hot dog. So it basically takes in an input image and classifies to two classes. And what a model does is it gives you the probability of classification for each class. So let's say you pass one sample, and in this case, we are passing the sample that has a hot dog inside it. So if you pass that sample to a model will predict the probability for that sample being classified to hot dog or not hot dog. So in this case, it's classified as hot dog with probability 0.99 and not hot dog with 0.001. So a model is at the end nothing but just a mathematical representation of your input data. So whatever the data set is, model is just a mathematical function that's mapping your input data to say your classes or your or the problem statement that you're trying to craft around training the model. So here you can see that model is taking something called as weights and biases and your input sample. So weights and biases are something that are randomly initialized when you create a model. And when you train a model, these weights and biases fit to your input data set so that your input gets classified to right classes, or it predicts right probabilities for relevant classes. So one important point to note is that how these inputs uh, are helpful in training a model, or how the model is trained. So there is something called as optimization algorithm in case of deep learning models, something like stochastic gradient descent or ADAM or RMS prompt. So these are just few of the optimization algorithms that are currently being used in industry. So these algorithms try to minimize the loss for your model. So they try to minimize this function called as loss function, so that uh, predicted output of your models do not differentiate much with the labels that you have for inputs. So every time the hot dog will always get classified to a hot dog class and not the not hot dog class. So that's just a quantitative representation or a numeric representation of how good your model is doing. And optimizer tries to optimize that loss and creates new set of weights and biases. So once you have minimum loss, say, you get this set of weights and biases which map your input to respective classes. Uh, and that's nothing but a trained model. So at the end, a trained model is nothing but set of numbers, which are just weights and biases, and different libraries and packages have their different ways to store these weights and biases to disk. So that's just a very abstract overview of how machine learning works. Now, once the model is trained, you can deploy it to production. So this image represents a general ML application working pipeline. So you have some data set, you train the model. After training the model, you either deploy that to a cloud, or you can deploy that to user's device with the say executable. So for Android application, let's say you deploy the model inside your APK and the user can use it, or you can deploy that model to a cloud, and using some APIs, user can query the target model. So user can send the input to target model and get relevant class for classification. So now that we know what ML model is and how is it deployed, how the application works, we can discuss about different threats that could occur in regards to ML application. So to understand these threats and to mitigate these threats, we have launched this service called as ML Security Assessment Service. So the idea is that we know your AI is intelligent, but is it secure? And we have different ways to test your AI application against different kind of machine learning threats. So we'll have a look at different threats in upcoming slides. We'll discuss about them and see how to uh, perform AI security assessment. So by the end of this webinar, you will get an idea of how to test your own AI applications also. So let's go to that part. So this is just a 3-slide process that we are going to walk through as of what are the steps that we follow while testing the AI application. Obviously, it differentiates based on what the application use case is. So based on your target application, there could be some tweaks and changes in these steps. So first, you just try to understand the application, try to understand what the attack surface is. Then you can threat model it. So after having a look at different types of ML-based threats, you can threat model your target application. Once you have the idea of what threats are there, you can test the model against these kind of attacks. So there is something called as adversarial learning attack, model stealing attacks, model skewing and inversion attacks, and some application based vulnerabilities which can be combined with these machine learning specific vulnerabilities to get even better attack scenario, or penetrate the application even more. So we'll go one by one into each of these attacks, each of these categories, and see what could be the possible threat and how to mitigate that. So at the end, after performing all these test cases, you end up with a good idea of how secure the application is, and you can craft some good mitigation plan uh, to patch the application against these security and privacy threats. So before we start with the attacks, it's always a good idea to have a solid recon regarding your application. So let's say you're testing an application and it's a completely black box application. It's a good idea to go through all the research papers, blogs, talks, and the social media content around that application to get an idea of what that application is doing. So many corporates try to release their research in different conferences and talks. So you can have a look at that just to get an idea of uh, what has been used to build that machine learning model. So what kind of algorithms have been used, what's the strategy for pre-processing the data set, and a few different uh, things that go into the application. So once you get that understanding, it really helps to even optimize your attacks in a sense that it will make your attacks efficient based on time, and it can also help you uh, to demonstrate even powerful attacks. So we'll see how different points in recon come in picture while devising different attack scenarios. So first attack is adversarial learning attack. This is a very well-known attack in deep learning community. So it's basically, the idea is to craft an input and send it to the model so that you get a desired classification result from the model. So here you have this image of a tumor, which is a benign tumor. And if you add some perturbations to that tumor, you get this output from the model that says that the input image has malignant tumor. So in this particular use case, you are trying to misclassify the input, uh, which could result in a bad diagnosis of the target disease. It could be possible when in our first application when we built something that differentiates hot dogs versus hot dog. So you can pass in the image of hot dog to a model, and with some perturbations, you can just make that image to be classified as not hot dog image. So that's the ideal adversarial learning attack scenario. So to get an idea of how this attack works, we again end up using optimizers just like we used for training the model. Here, instead of changing the weights, we are changing your input sample. So the optimizer will run on your input image, and it will try to increase the probability for your target class. So imagine a scenario where there is a self-driving car and it's not identifying a person on street, or say someone is trying to inject uh, different queries inside your Google Home or Alexa. So these kind of scenarios are possible using adversarial learning attacks. So either you can craft your own adversarial learning attack, write your own scripts to get adversarial samples, or you can make use of these tools, well-known tools to generate adversarial samples. So Clever Hands and Foolbox are currently widely being used to create adversarial samples, or you can just write your own script to generate multiple adversarial samples. So these are just some of the examples of how adversarial learning attacks work in physical domain. Let's say if you don't have direct access to the model or the pixels that are going inside the model for prediction. So in those cases, adversarial attacks also work in physical domain in the sense that you have something like an adversarial patch, which when used by an object, it gets misclassified. So in this first image, you can see that the person having adversarial patch is not detected uh, by the machine learning model. So the object detection model is not detecting that there's a person inside this image. The similar representation of patch is there in this attack scenario where the face is not recognized by the target model. So these attacks are also possible in physical domain. So provided what your application is doing, it could have different different technical or business impacts on your application. So what if you don't have access to the model? Say, what if the model is deployed on cloud and you are not able to craft the adversarial learning attack using Clever Hands or Fullbox, because these applications or the traditional adversarial learning attack methodology requires you to uh, have access to the model and the layers of the model or the weights of those model. But it's possible to generate adversarial learning attacks when the model is in a black box scenario. So you have an attacker and the model is deployed somewhere on cloud. So what an attacker do is train a model which performs similar tasks. So for example, if you have an object detection model that detects 5 objects, the attacker could do the same thing. He could train a model locally and try to attack that model using normal adversarial learning attack methodologies. When the adversarial samples are generated for local model, those adversarial samples can directly be used against the target model. So this is not just a theory, there's a research supporting that. So in this diagram, you can see that the source machine learning technique that was used to train a model is represented on this y-axis. So let's say you have this deep neural network used to train your target model, and attacker is also using a deep neural network and attacking the deep neural network that's trained locally for a certain task. Then 38% of the samples that are generated, so 38% of adversarial samples are directly transferable to the target deep learning model. So meaning that 38% samples would cause a successful adversarial learning attack on your target model. So this is one more case where you have the model deployed on cloud and how to attack uh, the models that are deployed on cloud or in a black box scenario. So that was about some kind of nifty mathematical attacks that you can craft to generate adversarial samples. But there are some libraries which can be used to interpret what the model is doing. So ideally, basically these libraries are created for interpretability of models. So there is something called as LIME, which stands for Local Interpretable Model Agnostic Explanation Framework. So there's something called as SHAP. So these frameworks actually help you to understand why a certain input sample is being classified to a particular class using those frameworks. So as an attacker, you can also utilize this capability of framework to understand uh, what the model is looking at when it's classifying something to particular class, and then try to impose some positive perturbations inside your input sample so that it gets misclassified by target application. So in the image on left hand side, you can see that there's a web access firewall model. It identifies the script substring written in your web query and marks that as a bad query. So it's basically looking for the script tag inside your query. Then if the sample has /index/lab or home, something like that in the query, it gets classified to a good query. Here you can see that home has a very high weightage for the query being classified to a good query class. So you can just impose these substrings inside your bad query to get that query being classified to a good query class. So these are just different ways which are not that mathematical but very intuitive to perform to generate adversarial samples and perform adversarial attacks. So in this image, you can see that it's a visualization of a convolutional neural network that has been implemented on the ImageNet dataset. So the dataset has some images of gray whales, and these is the filter visualization of the neural network, basically understanding how the neural network is classifying certain input image to that class. So you can see that when classifying an image to great white shark class, the neural network is trying to identify this teeth-like pattern inside shark. So you can also impose some pattern in your image so that it gets misclassified by the target model. Similarly, this attack works on if the model is a text classification model or say audio processing model or any kind of machine learning model. It could be possible in different domains. So there are a few other techniques, like this is one ML model which identifies if there's a car and a number plate on the car and detects what the number plate is while allowing people to with the car to enter the parking lot. So these people have created t-shirts which has bunch of number plates on it, so you can just poison the data set which is which the model is using. So you can also pass in some distorted inputs to the model. If the model is not trained well, distorted inputs also get classified to wrong classes. So that was about model, that was about adversarial learning attacks. Now we'll go to something called as model stealing or model extraction attacks. So in these attacks are basically to steal the model that's there, that's deployed inside the application or on the cloud. So to train a model, it requires a lot of resources, and it's kind of an intellectual property of your uh, of the organization that has developed that model or application. So it's not a good news for that organization if someone is trying to access their model for free. So we like to categorize that those attacks as offline attacks or online attacks. In case of offline attacks, the model is locally deployed, in a sense that model is deployed with say any executable or the APK itself on Android applications, or the model is being downloaded via network and stored on disk for performing local predictions. And in case of online attacks, the model is deployed on cloud, and we are trying to extract the model that's deployed on cloud. So first we'll have a look at offline model stealing attacks, then we'll go for online model duplication attacks. So in offline model stealing, as I said, the model could be deployed in your firmware or with the APK or written on the disk, transmitted over network. So what an attacker could do is analyze the serialized version of model. So first you locate where the model is stored. Then once you know where the model is stored, you can analyze just the binary or strings that are there inside the model, and you will be able to know what frameworks have been used to train that model. Once you know that, you can make use of same frameworks to load the model and uh, predict run predictions for yourself. So whenever we do some kind of recon, you get an idea of what kind of model is deployed and what algorithm is it using. So that knowledge from recon can be helpful while devising adversarial learning attacks, where if you are performing a black box adversarial learning attack, you can use same algorithms to train the local model, which increases the transferability of adversarial learning. And same is the case when you understand that model is deployed inside your application itself. In recon, you just try to extract the model that's there on your disk. So this is just one of the example that we have tested for model stealing attacks. So this model was inside one APK, and by just looking at the APK, the hex dump of that model, you can see that it's using something called as torch to train a model. So we can make use of same torch framework to load the model and run predictions through it. Some information like what's the input size that's required by the model, or what's the mapping of activations in the last layer to the relevant classes for the target model, could be reverse engineered from the code or executable itself. So from this APK, I got to know that there's a model folder directory and model.net is the name of that model. And there's a categories.txt file which maps the predicted probabilities to respective categories. And the input for the model is 224 by 224 by 3. So it's an RGB image of size 224. Using that, I can just load the model on by myself and use that model for free without paying for the service provider. So this is a standard offline model extraction attack. Now, what if the model is deployed on cloud? Is it still possible to extract that uh, model? So the answer is yes, but it requires more efforts. We'll see what that means. So what we are doing here is not the model extraction itself. We are trying to duplicate the model that's there on the cloud. So an attacker could have just the API access to the model that's deployed on cloud, will represent that model by F. And just by using the legitimately using the APIs, the attacker can collect labels for the target model and use those labels as a training data set to duplicate the functionality of target model and generate this F dash model, which can be used for predictions. So initially, the attacker has to pay for target organization or the owner of that model to use the model. But once the model is duplicated and it's having good performance, it's showing good accuracy on attacker's data set, then there's no motivation for attacker to pay the target organization or the owner of that model to generate uh, classifications. So it's more of a business loss than a technical risk. So it could directly impact the revenue generation uh, for the target organization. So yes, these attacks
Nikhil, we are not able to hear you. One sec. I think there is an issue from Nikhil's side. Let me contact with him. Uh, Hello, guys. Actually, there is some issue from Nikhil's side. Let me talk with him so that Hello guys, there is a net connection from yeah, it's like
Okay, sorry for that. There was some internet issue. Okay, so in black box model stealing attacks, the idea is to duplicate the functionality of model that's there on the cloud, that's deployed on the cloud, so that once the functionality is deployed, the attacker do not have to pay for the service provider anymore and just use the model that's duplicating the functionality which is there stored locally at attacker side. So now this algorithm helps the attacker to duplicate the attack efficiently with less number of epochs, get better loss value. So yeah, so that's about black box model extraction attacks. So let's go to model skewing attacks. So you might have seen many application which has this feedback loop from the user to data set. So let's say you have a spam classifier and you have this button which is usually there on Gmail. You can mark certain messages as not spam. So using that data set, Gmail is trying to train a model which is classifying a certain mail to spam or not spam. So that's one example of what a feedback loop could look like. So attackers can abuse that feedback loop to train a model or skew the model in desired direction. So imagine this being implemented in some authentication scenarios. Let's say you are authorizing someone based on the fingerprints the person has. Those cases, someone's trying to poison the feedback, could skew the model and could authorize different non-authentic person. And in spam classification case, someone can launch an attack against this model skewing attacks against the model to classify their phishing mail as not spam so that it does not land in the spam folder for target users. So these could be possible threats when you have unprotected feedback loop from the user. So there's something called as input data inference attack or uh, the model inference attacks. So, or some people like to call it model inversion attack, where you try to interpret what's the sensitive data that's there inside the input data set. So in these examples, research were able to recreate the images that were there in the data set, which was being used to train a face recognition model. So that could categorize as sensitive data. In this example, you can see that these researchers have trained a generative text model uh, on the data set, and the data set had some credit card numbers. And just by querying the right query to the model, you can extract what's the credit card number that was there in the input data set. So if your data set is not sanitized, if it has some sensitive information, then again it's possible for an attacker to extract that information from the input data set itself. So these are some of the very machine learning based attacks or machine learning specific domain specific attacks that could be possible. There could be these hybrid versions of attacks that could be possible. Let's say if you were able to successfully extract the model from your application and perform the adversarial learning attack. Now it's not a black box adversarial learning attack anymore. It's a white box adversarial learning attack, and you will have more success rate to generate adversarial samples. Uh, let's say you have poor authentication on feedbacks for the model, then someone can write bots, skew that model in desired direction. So in these scenarios, the authentication also needs to be patched. So you have not that good encryption while sending the model to user's device, and someone could perform a man-in-the-middle attack to extract the model that's going on the network. So again, that results into model stealing attack, again used with adversarial learning, it could successfully generate adversarial samples. Something like vulnerability in database uh, could turn into a data poisoning attack. So these are some of the hybrid attacks. Then we also need to take in consideration the vulnerabilities that are there in the applications or firmwares that have been used, frameworks that have been used to, to create these machine learning applications. So if say certain framework like OpenCV has a certain 0-day attack, then it's a good idea to upgrade your application to use newer version of OpenCV so that the application is no more vulnerable to that attack. But it's quite difficult in many cases since you might have to again end up training a new model, which could take a lot of resources. So it's quite a painful task from a development perspective. So these are just some of the possible attacks on machine learning applications. Now talking about mitigation, how do you mitigate these different kind of attacks? So it completely depends on what the use case for application is and what attack is it vulnerable against. It's very different from traditional mitigation methodologies. So let's say you have a vulnerability in web application, you just put in some flag on server or try to close a port or add a few lines in the code and your vulnerability will be patched. But that's not the case in machine learning applications. Let's say your model is very vulnerable to adversarial attack, might have to train a completely different model with completely different algorithms. So something like adversarial training, which is training the model against adversarial samples, could help. There are different methods like difference distillation, ensemble learning could also help you to get a better robust model against adversarial learning attacks. So it's always a good idea to identify and patch the biases that are there in the models. So if the model is trying to uh, give more weightage to a feature that's not relevant for classification, then attacker can make use of that feature to craft adversarial samples. So try to eliminate the bias from the model as much as possible. Sanitize your input data set. Don't keep any sensitive information in the input data set. Uh, Try not to trust the user feedback. So whenever the user is giving you feedback, try to keep it somewhere and not just train the model in production using that feedback. Whenever you train a model using users feedback, you test it against some kind of well-crafted golden data set so that you test the model again against the golden data set to compare the performance with the model that's already there in the production so that you get a good model, and it might help you from the threat of deploying the more skewed model to production. So that's one way to do it. Then also take care of standard data protection and application security techniques. So that's all about the different mitigations that could be possible. So coming back to the methodology, now I assume that everyone has better understanding of what these different steps are. So again, just try to understand what the model, what the application is doing, try to understand where the model is deployed, and see if there is a direct way to access the model or what endpoints the more you on what endpoints you can access the model. Then test your model against these attacks. So once you test the model against these attacks, it's also very important to quantify your results. So let's say you test the model against adversarial learning attacks in ML assessment scenario. It's not always helpful to just say that the model is vulnerable to adversarial learning, since it's not helping to get the mitigation or patch the model or make the model robust. It's a good idea to quantify how vulnerable is it, how easy it is to generate an adversarial sample, something like that, or how easy is it to skew your target model against and generate and perform the model skewing attacks on the model. So quantification of the attack is also important. Once you have that, you can that will help you to get a good mitigation or decide a good mitigation plan to make your application and model more robust. So that's all about ML security assessment that we follow at Py2 and the process that we follow. So we have tested few samples and few different applications against these kind of attacks. Uh, Now, if you have any questions, so you can please ask me right now in the chat, or you can uh, mail me at the given email ID.
I would like to thank the speaker, Nikhil, for delivering such an insightful talk on AI and ML security. If you have any other queries, you can reach out to Nikhil via LinkedIn. Big thank you to all the participants who are present here today and for being so active. A recording of the full webinar will be released later and shared via social media, so make sure you're following us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter for the webinar link and much, much more. Thank you, everyone.